What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of Your Fantasy, Two Dudes, Fake Balls, with myself, Connor Ryan, and
Steve Scott. Let's go, Connor. This is dope. I can't believe we're doing this, but it's a long time coming. A fantasy-centric podcast. This is what the world needs.
This is what the world needs right now with coronavirus, pandemic, everything is going to hell. The world needs a podcast about fantasy sports. I think that is forget the vaccine and forget social distancing, masks, everything like that. This podcast will cure the world's problems with COVID-19. That is my first big take on this podcast.
Big take.
This is what's going to cure the world of its ailments.
Send the link to Donald Trump. Let him retweet it. Call us the heroes that we are. I mean, expertise like this. This is like Fauci early on. Like, everyone listened to him for his advice. This is our advice. We are all knowing.
Yeah,
this is the real shit.
We're all knowing in fantasy sports. You think Matthew Berry knows what he's talking about? No, he has no idea. Tristan Cockcroft or whatever the hell that guy's name is, no chance he knows a damn thing. Myself, my name, Connor Ryan, the other guy, Steve Scott, we know what we're talking about. So listen up and make sure you're hitting play every damn week at Thursday for your fantasy. Two dudes, fake balls, sexual innuendos. Let's go. Let's get started. So first off, we're presented by Couch Guy Sports. Can't forget that. Got to throw that in there. Couch Guy Sports is awesome. That is real. That is not fantasy. That is not fake. Couch Guy Sports is legit. Like I said, I'm Connor Ryan. You can find me at Twitter at Connor Ryan 68 with one R in between, two first names. I know it's confusing, but deal with it. Steve, tell them where they can hit you up at.
Like you, Connor, I also have two first names. My name is Steven Scott, but you can find me at Stephen O. Scott. My middle name, to be disclosed later. You can guess it if you'd like. If not, jam it. If not, you can also find me at Small State Takes on Twitter. I'm also part of that podcast. And you can find me there. You can follow me on Instagram, and maybe I'll follow back. And Steve Scott Jr.
He probably will. Most likely he will. Some quick background on us as to why you're saying, why are you guys insulting Matthew Berry and claiming to know everything? Steve and I have been playing fantasy sports against each other for like what now? A decade, Steve?
It's got to be a decade.
Long. Yeah, it's got to be. Like ever since Miss Sutton's biology class in junior year of high school. Shout out Mrs. Sutton. But
hated
ever
us,
since
though.
then, she hated us. Yeah, well, you and Sam. Steve was making trades and suffering detention for them in fantasy baseball, and we've been going at it ever since then. Not everything is smooth sailing for Steve and I in fantasy world, but that's how you know you're getting the best info. Actually, in terms of things in fantasy sports world, we hate each other. So that's how you know you're getting the best info right now. But we're going to focus episode number 1, fantasy football, because that's what's coming up right now, obviously, and that's like what everybody's super in tune to. We put out a poll on Tuesday afternoon before the episode aired saying, what do you want to listen to and see on our first episode? We put out a couple of episode ideas that we had, and it sucked. We got like 4 total votes. One of them was me. I'm going to guess that one of them might have been Steve.
It was me,
One of them was our mutual friend Gilly. So there's 3 of your votes right there. There was actually one person that tried to vote on it. It might have been our producer, who knows? But you know what? We're going to take a suggestion from a fan before they're even an episode out. Don Corleone Jones. No idea what his actual real name is, but Don Jones says top 10 at each position. We're not going to do top 10. That's a little long for a quick fun first episode, but we're gonna have a little fun, and we're gonna do the top 5 at each fantasy football position, and that's how we're gonna start off this incredible show that's going to be airing again, like I said, every Thursday. YouTube, Couch Guy Sports. Follow them at couchguysports.com. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I don't know if you can subscribe to this show, but definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you don't, you're going to come in last place in your fantasy league. So I'm just telling you right now.
Rest in peace.
Steve,
yep. Yes.
Are you ready?
Oh, dude, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to let you go first because I cannot wait to tear apart all of your choices. But we're going to start off with the position that touches the ball about every single play, the glamour position known as quarterback in the NFL. Steve, what's your top 5 fantasy quarterbacks going into 2020?
Okay, this is a good conversation. This is going to be tough, but number one right now, I have to say it's Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of obvious, but he's still got all the weapons. He's got, he just resigned. They just resigned Kelsey. They got Tyreek Hill still. Mahomes is the man. All right, number 2, Lamar Jackson. Of course, he's like prime Michael Vick right now. I'll take Lamar number 2. Now things get hazy. All right.
Ooh. Oh.
All right. Now,
Okay.
1 and 2 are, interchangeable too. Maybe Lamar's better. Maybe Mahomes is better. I'm just going to say Mahomes right now. All right. Number 3. If those 2 guys are gone,
All right.
Okay. Just imagine those 2 guys are gone. And now it's like, what am I going to do? I am dead serious when I say this. I'm going to look you dead in the eye right now with your.
Everyone look at Steve dead in the eye. Ready?
Right. Look at me closely. Josh Allen, number 3.
Oh,
Josh Allen. I'm dead serious. That's not even a joke. Josh Allen, number 3. If Mahomes and Lamar are off my board, going straight to Josh Allen, baby. He is the real deal, an absolute killer, number 3.
No, he's not. Right. I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
The rest of your list is worthless. I'm just saying that right now. I watched a clip today, one of Josh Allen throwing what they called a deep ball on against air to Stephon Diggs, and I saw another one where he threw it to Diggs. I commented on it and said they were like easy pitch and catch was the Buffalo Bills Twitter caption. I said Diggs has to make a leaping catch, and they call that easy. What an incredible throw by Josh Allen. I had some guy had the absolute audacity from Bills Mafia to tweet at me and say, unless it's one of your burner accounts, Steve, and be like, hey, dude, that was a back shoulder fade route. That's how it's supposed to look in a game. No, it could have been, for all I know, it's probably a go route that Allen missed through behind him and over his head, and Diggs had to make an incredible adjustment. Dude, my thing with Josh Allen, he can move the ball, but he cannot score. When he gets into the red zone, he becomes just he's not a good quarterback. I'm sorry to tell you. I know you love Josh Allen. I know his legs in running the football have him as a possibility to be a good fantasy quarterback, but I'm not taking him number 3. If you take that draft pick, thank you. And thanks.
You're welcome. It's going to happen.
I'm glad you took your second string quarterback in the 5th round. That's fine with me.
Look, you're talking to a former fantasy football champion, not last year, but many a time. And Josh Allen, last year for me, absolutely killed it. The guy puts up counting numbers. I don't care about winning the game. I'm trying to win the fantasy game. Josh Allen throws a deep ball like no one's business. I don't care if he's accurate or not. He can make it happen rushing. He's a dual threat.
You don't get points for throwing incompletions 50 yards.
I don't give a shit. He can make a completion for a touchdown, and if not, he can always scramble. The guy's fast. He
can run.
He can run. He scores. What didn't he lead the league in touchdowns for a quarterback rushing last year? He better have. I'm not. Let me look it up. This is enthralling.
I would have thought it'd be Lamar Jackson, but yeah, no. Look it up. Go ahead. Look it up. Go ahead.
Okay, let me see. All right, wait. Quarterback.
You know, we're gonna look it up. We're looking it up so you can get it first.
Quarterback.
Let's see. Football reference. Come on. Seasons. Stats. Nope, that's team stats.
Rushing.
I want individual stats.
Mm-hmm.
Player stats. Rushing. Rushing. Touchdowns. Oh, he did. 9 rushing touchdowns. 9 rushing touchdowns.
9 rushing touchdowns.
Okay.
Oh, what do you know about that? That's badass.
Would you look at that?
Oh, and how many yards? 1 million at least?
500. To Lamar Jackson's 1,207 scores.
I'm sorry he's not Michael Vick Jr., but maybe he's Steve Grogan Jr., and I will take that as my number 3 fantasy QB. Here's
what I will say. Josh Allen is like almost about 80 points away in the ESPN projected point totals. He's about 70 points away between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. He is exactly 21 points projected ahead of a guy named Daniel Jones. That's your number 3 quarterback is Josh Allen, who's basically a rich man's version of Daniel Jones.
That is the most insulting thing
That is the
I've
most
ever heard.
accurate thing I've ever
No, it's
said.
not. Okay, ESPN projections can jam it. Big take right there. Oh my God. All right.
You know what? I'm fine with making that bet this year. I will bet you right now. I bet you right now that
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how I want to word it. Maybe it'll be next episode. We can come up with the parameters, but something around it. Daniel Jones will have a better fantasy season than Josh Allen. You know what? I'll say it right now.
You on that bet? Wow.
Okay.
First
There
day.
you go.
Wow.
Daniel Jones will be better than Josh Allen in fantasy in the year of our Lord 2020.
I cannot believe that is the.
Where's the stamp? We need a stamp graphic. Boom. Boom.
Your balls. Bang.
You've been stamped. Fake balls. Daniel
Fake
Jones
balls.
will have a better fantasy season than Josh Allen. Check it off the list. All right, number four.
Hold on. Our first episode, you're really going to drop that.
Yes.
I can't believe you're going to take an L in the first episode. Daniel Jones. Wow.
Daniel Jones will have a better fantasy season than Josh Allen. I said it right here, right now.
That's absolutely preposterous. And this is what we need this podcast for, because that was the saddest thing I have ever heard. But anyway, number four.
Number four. Give me number four.
Okay. Wow. After all that, now that is slander. I can't even believe my ears. All right. Number four for fantasy this year is going to have to be Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Just a safe pick. Yeah, whatever. He's always good. And you know what? Whatever. He's good. And then number five, bro, it's going to have to be Deshaun Watson. I was thinking maybe Kyler. I'm trying to think for fantasy. I know who I'd really want in real life, but Deshaun. Well, you know what? Actually, yeah, I'll stick with Deshaun. I forgot Hopkins is gone, but whatever. I'll still stick with him. I think Deshaun is elite. He's a top 5 QB to me, fantasy wise. I'll take it. All right, let me hear you. What's yours? Let's go. I'm ready.
All right, that's an interesting one. All right,
Josh Allen, number one.
By the way, last year in ESPN in our league, Steve, people have different scoring, but Josh Allen had 286 points last year. Daniel Jones had 210, and mind you, Josh Allen started every game for Buffalo. Daniel Jones not the same for New York. Daniel Jones averaged 16.2 points per game. Josh Allen 17.9. He was 1.7 points off per average in his rookie year compared to Josh Allen. I am fine with making this bet. Daniel Jones will have a better fantasy season than Josh Allen. Anyway,
hold on. Real quick, Connor, before we go down this road,
okay.
I just want to say, fantasy comes from the heart a lot of times. You know what? I feel deep in my heart that Josh Allen is better, and it will come true. Self-fulfilling prophecy. We will be discussing those as time goes on, and that is the truth. You watch out.
Yeah, your passion does not equal results. All right, my fantasy quarterbacks. I'm actually going to switch it up a little bit. Number one, not too much, but Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Tough to argue with the rushing yards, touchdowns, because, for most leagues, a throwing touchdown is 4, rushing touchdown is 6. It's 25 yards per point. In most standard scoring leagues, I know there's a lot of PPR leagues right now, but most standard leagues, I like Lamar Jackson a little bit more. Patrick Mahomes is number 2. Like you said, Steve, he has all of his weapons back. He can run a little bit, not a lot. People kind of give him, I think, too much credit in that area, but it's hard to argue with those two at the top. I don't think you're really messing up if either of those are your top quarterback. You're in a good spot. Mm-hmm. Number 3, you know what? I am going to go Kyler Murray. I watched like a YouTube highlight video of Kyler Murray the other day, and I was just blown away by the guy. Throws a beautiful ball. He has DeAndre Hopkins now in his offense. They're not kind of bogged down by David Johnson, because I think he's kind of a shell of his former self. I think Murray takes the jump year 2, and he's going to be your 3rd best fantasy quarterback this year. Number 4. Now, again, folks, this is fantasy, not real life football that we're talking about. Fantasy football. Your number 4 fantasy quarterback this year, Dak Prescott. Rain Dakota Prescott. You make the face, Steve. You make the face. The guy can run. The guy has a ridiculous wide receiver crew around him. Amari Cooper, Gallup, and they just added CeeDee Lamb. He has Ezekiel Elliott. The offense is absolutely stacked and loaded. And like I said, it doesn't equate to wins. It doesn't have to. He could go 9-7 in real life. But Dak Prescott, Rain Dakota Prescott can put up numbers. He can put up stats. That's what I care about in fantasy. He's on the franchise tag. The guy is playing for himself. He's going to be fantastic. And you know what? Number 5. I'm on number 5.
Yeah.
My number 5 quarterback in fantasy football this year.
Wait. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I'm on 5. Yeah.
Okay.
My number 5 fantasy quarterback this year, our Lord and Savior, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Yeah.
Tom Brady going to Tampa. He's going to be slinging the ball over the place. They don't really have a running back outside of Dare Ogunbowale. I only know that name because it was jammed into my head in a game in Madison, Wisconsin against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. But anyways, they don't have much of a running game. He's got Mike Evans, Godwin, and Gronk. Case closed. They're going to be throwing the ball, slinging it all over the place. That's my top 5. Jackson, Mahomes, Murray, Prescott, Thomas, Brady. Running backs. We're on to running backs. This is the lifeblood of a fantasy football team, as we all know. Steve, your running back predictions, top 5, go.
All right, top 5. All right, number 1. This is pretty consensus. It's got to be McCaffrey. And I'm thinking McCaffrey's probably the consensus number 1 pick now, like how Adrian Peterson used to be. Like, everybody knew that AP was going number 1. I think McCaffrey's that guy now. But yeah, so I'm taking McCaffrey number 1.
Okay.
But not far behind is
so if you have
Saquon.
Is he like your number 1 overall pick? If you were had number 1 overall in the draft, you're going McCaffrey, no questions?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. And,
right.
and this is coming from a former McCaffrey complete doubter. I was Thomas the doubter when it came to him, but now I believe he's got the whole full package, man. He's badass.
Okay.
Number 2, and this is not far behind. And maybe if I had picked 2, I'd go Saquon. Or if McCaffrey got hurt, Saquon Barkley. Your boy there, Dan Jones. Guy's a joker. He's going to be handing an awful lot. And Saquon, I've never seen thighs like that before. That guy is the real deal. He's young still. Obviously, it's like his second year, third year. Oh my God, he's going to be an absolute
third
freak.
year. Yeah,
third year. All right, so that's my 1 and 2.
Yep.
All right, number 3. I'm gonna be biased. I'm just gonna go ahead and be biased. My favorite Ohio State running back of my lifetime, Ezekiel Elliott. Your boy Dak, another guy that I don't really believe in. I'm sorry, Connor, but he'll be handing it off to Zeke. Zeke's ready to eat, man. I'm ready. Zeke's gonna be awesome, and I'm likely to keep him. Oh, he's always eating, and I'm probably gonna keep him. I'm probably gonna keep him in fantasy. So number 3 is Zeke.
All
right. Number 4. I'm gonna have to go with. This might be a surprise, but Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs. I mean, yeah. I think he'll get that high of a volume of carries this year. Well, he'll be an absolute elite number 4 talent in fantasy.
Wow.
I think about that.
All
and
right.
then number 5. Number 5 to round it out. Number 5 to round this baby out is going to have to be. Maybe I should have put him at number 4, but number 5 is Derrick Henry. That guy.
I have to go with him. Yeah.
Oh my God. He probably should have been higher, but whatever. I was just going off the top of my head here. Derrick Henry, absolute freak of nature. I love that guy. Oh my God. He could end up being the greatest running back ever. How about that? Big take early on.
I don't know about that. That's a little iffy, but no worry about the tread on the tires of Derrick Henry.
Not at all.
They used a lot last year, a ton.
They'll keep doing it too. They'll pound him into the ground until he's dead, and he's got another 3 years of wear. Next year it'll be great.
He's increased every year, yards, touchdowns, everything. So I'm with you on Derrick Henry. That's a solid top 5 list. Steve goes McCaffrey, Saquon, Ezekiel Elliott, who Zeke is actually the top projected scorer on ESPN Fantasy Football. And then he goes Josh Jacobs from the Las Vegas now Raiders, and then Derrick Henry. Okay, my top 5. My number 1. I know you love McCaffrey. I think he's maybe going to lose a little bit of usage with Teddy Bridgewater now as the quarterback for Carolina. They don't have just absolute mediocrity behind center. So I'm going to go with Saquon as number 1. because
Okay.
he's going to be catching those sweet little screen passes from Mr. Danny Jones and taking them to the house. So I'm going to go Saquon, number one, just because he's done it every single year. He's done things that athletically that just leave us saying, wow, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go McCaffrey. You got it. Those are number one and number two, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Those are an easy number one, number two. Number three, I'm actually going to go Derrick Henry, number three, over Zeke, just because, like I said, he's improved in stats every single year. And if he improves on 1,500 yards, a rushing title, and 16 touchdowns, now he touched the ball over 300 times last year in 15 games. That is enormous. That is a lot of touches.
That is incredible.
Ridiculous. He led everybody except for Ezekiel Elliott, who had 301, but still, those are ridiculous rushing numbers. But I gotta go Derrick Henry, like you said, Steve, freak of nature, and like I said, he's gotten better every single year. So I'm going Derrick Henry there. So that's number four, or no, that was number three. Number four, you gotta go Zeke. Like I said, if Henry's getting 303 for his rushing touches and 1,500 yards, you gotta go Zeke, who hit 301. 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns last year. He was very quietly, I think, kind of a beast yet again.
Yeah, definitely.
And then my number five running back, boy, this is kind of a tough one, but I don't want to do it. I was kind of stuck between two guys, and I'll be honest, Aaron Jones and Nick Chubb. Aaron Jones last year scored a ton of touchdowns, and I don't think you see that again this year. So I'm going Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb last year, 16 games, 298 touches. He was third in touches, and he had about 1,500 yards, only 8 touchdowns. So that kind of suppressed his fantasy numbers. If you see those touchdown numbers kind of get bumped up a little bit to even like maybe just between 10 and 12, Nick Chubb is a top 5 running back, no question. So I got that. Barkley, McCaffrey, Elliott, and then pardon me, Henry, then Elliott, and then Chubb. Chubb sneaks into my top 5. Wide receiver, Steve, top 5 wideouts. What do you got?
All right, top 5 wideouts. All right, my number 1 receiver. And you know what? My number 2 pick after McCaffrey in the draft, no matter what, I would go with my boy, future Hall of Famer, Michael Thomas, the best receiver in the game. I love Michael Thomas. He racks up the numbers. He'll catch anything. He catches a lot of balls. He gets a lot of targets. He's my number 1 for sure. All right, number 2, I'm taking Julio Jones. I think, it's a surprise, but I'm going Julio. I just think he's great. I think he's as solid as they come. He's a wide receiver 1, no matter what. So you can't go wrong with Julio. All right, number 3. You know, I'm not completely sold on receivers. How about that? That's for a big take. There's not a solid enough like basis for receivers for me. But number 3, I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins. I think him and Kyler going to hit it off. He'll be putting up numbers. And finally, DeAndre Hopkins is out of a Bill O'Brien, offensive scheme. Yeah. So you'll get Kyler unleashed. Come on, he'll be racking up some serious numbers. Number 4, I'm going to have to say, let's see here. I'm going to say Tyreek Hill. As much as I can't stand the guy, and he's probably deserved to be suspended a million times over, the guy racks up numbers. I hate to have him and cheer for him, but, I mean, if you want to sell your soul, play fantasy, I mean, Tyreek is the guy to draft. And then number 5, It's telling me that I'm looking at this Fantasy Pros website. It's telling me Devontae Adams is number 2. I do not agree with that, but I'm gonna say
I don't know.
Don't you tell me that? Don't you? All right, hold on. We'll get there.
Okay.
My number 5. All right, Connor. All right, since you had a big little thing about Dak there, I'm gonna say Amari Cooper.
Okay, that's fine.
I think Amari Cooper sneaks in number 5 territory this year. I think he'll rack up some numbers. And he wants to show that he's elite. I think Amari's the real deal. And I'd take Amari over Devontae Adams any day. I'm not putting Mike Evans up there yet, or Chris Godwin. Sorry, Mike Evans. But there you go.
Wow.
That's my top 5.
Wow, you don't go with any of Brady's new targets. Okay. I'm with you on Michael Thomas, number 1. That's an easy one. I mean, the dude just racks in targets. He's done it year after year. He's still with Drew Brees, still in New Orleans. That makes too much sense to turn down. Boy, I want to go with you at number 2 in Julio Jones, but I'm going to stick with my Kyler Murray pick as the number 3 quarterback, and I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins now in
Sure.
Arizona. The kind of air raid system under Cliff Kingsbury. I really like DeAndre Hopkins. I think he kind of retakes that claim or re-enters that argument, at least, with Michael Thomas as the best wide receiver. Julio Jones, then I believe you got to go number 3 because, like you said, dude's just a beast. Dude's just consistent. You can't you can't knock that really. He's just always he's been there for so long. They've had their struggles the last few years, have the Falcons kind of offensively ever since Shanahan left. But if Julio gets back into scoring touchdowns, Julio's back into the elite receiving core group. Number 4, I'm going to go with the guy that I think becomes the new Julian Edelman for Tom Brady. I'm not going Mike Evans. I'm going Chris Godwin as your number 4 wide receiver this year. Chris Godwin,
Wow.
the slot. Out of the slot, he had a ton of looks last year from Jameis Winston. He became a fantasy superstar. Now with Tom Brady, the king of the slant pattern, the king of the find a soft spot in the zone, and let's just pick up the first down instead of trying to chuck it 60 yards downfield. Chris Godwin is about to have a big year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can feel it. I got him at number 4. And at number 5, I'm going to leave out the likes of guys like Tyreek Hill. I'm going to leave out the likes of guys like Mike Evans. And I'm going to stick up for my boy that Steve just slandered, Davante Adams. I don't understand how you don't love this guy. The dude is like the only wide receiver that Green Bay has. Everybody knows it. He's double teamed all the time. He's one of the best route runners in football. He's got one of the best quarterbacks. I don't like Aaron Rodgers really all that much either in terms of an actual quarterback, but I still got Davante Adams, top 5 wide receiver. I think he's a steal. His name is just he's not the guy that's like an OBJ or like you said, a Tyreek Hill, who is not in my top 5, again, mind you, or Mike Evans that gets people excited when they draft him. But man, Davante Adams, that's just production. Every single Sunday. I don't understand how you pass that up. All right, we're on to our final category and position of this episode. We're skipping defense and special teams and kickers. Who cares about those? Nobody cares. Those are stupid.
Are you sure? We could rattle off a couple.
Right. We could rattle off maybe a couple. We'll see how it goes. Tight ends.
All right.
Steve, top 5 tight ends in football for fantasy 2020.
Fantasy 2020. All right. This is going to be tough. You know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say my number 1 is who you think it is. All right? I'm not saying it. I'm going to say, how about this? Ready? For 2020, okay. It's going to be Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews will be the number 1 this year. I'm all in on Mark Andrews. Lamar loves him. Lamar have a great rapport, and he put up serious numbers last year. The guy broke out. It's real. The guy's huge. He's an absolute tank. I love Mark Andrews this year. All right, that's my number 1 this year.
You know what, Steve? We argued about Josh Allen earlier. I commend you for that pick because Mark Andrews, I was looking at him earlier, 10 touchdown catches last year on 98 targets. When the Ravens got in the red zone, you're absolutely right. Lamar Jackson was looking for none other than Mark Andrews. Touchdown numbers could be through the absolute roof if teams load the box in the red zone against Lamar Jackson. Love that pick. I'm big on that one. Good for you, Steve. Great pick.
Thank you. Number 2, look at this. I'm still not going to say it. Number 2 is George Kittle. I still believe in George Kittle. He just got extended. Dude, George Kittle, he's a freak of nature. He's better than Travis Kelce. I'd rather have
a million times.
Kittle. Yeah, oh my God. Just give me Kittle.
Yeah.
But sadly, now I have to say it. Number 3 is Travis Kelce. Can't stand the guy. Complete jerk. But, I mean, whatever.
That's all we need to say. Just move on.
Yeah, whatever. All right, number 4. Number 4, let's see. I'm going to have to say for this year, I'm going to have to say, you know what? He'll be depending on him a lot, Daniel Jones. So I'm going to have to say Evan Ingram.
Ooh.
You know, I like Evan Ingram a lot. You guys are talented. He's got he's fast, big body. I'll take Evan Ingram. And then for number 5.
Last one.
For
Last
this, I'm just
choice of the night.
I'm looking at guys that did well in the past, but who's gonna do well next year?
Yeah, that's what we want. Not the past. We're not worried about the past. We're worried about this year, 2020, the year 2020.
Right. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. And you know what? My mysterious pick right now, I'm just going to say it, is Darren Waller. You know what? Former
Ooh.
Hard Knocks champ, former Hard Knocks star, but he put up numbers last year. And I think him with the Raiders this year in Las Vegas, he'll be racking up numbers. They'll be depending on him. And I love, you know what? Anytime that I feel like a quarterback is in a situation where he's going to need to depend on a tight end, that's the kind of guy I want. So I think Darren Waller is a number 5 caliber for next year. So there you go.
All right, there you go. I don't hate that list. All right, number 1 tight end this year for me. I'm going with you, Steve. Actually, not Mark Andrews though. I'm going to go George Kittle. Tough to argue anything against that. Really, George Kittle, all around great tight end. I do have to put number 2, Travis Kelce. Unfortunately, like I said, guy sucks. He's awful. He's not Gronk. He thinks he is, but he's not.
True.
But he's not just a red zone threat. That's what I do like about Travis Kelce is that he's not just dependent on if the Chiefs are able to move the ball into the red zone and touchdown catches. He catches the ball all over the field. That's what makes him so dangerous. I like Mark Andrews at number 3. Like I pointed out, the amount of targets he gets compared to the touchdown catches he has, Lamar Jackson is just staring down Mark Andrews when it comes to in the red zone. All right, I'm going to switch things up a little bit here from what ESPN's projecting and what they have here. Number 4, the number 4 tight end going into 2020, switch it up on you a little bit. Hunter Henry for the Los Angeles Chargers. Tyrod Taylor is supposed to be their starting quarterback, but you know that Justin Herbert eventually is going to get his shot. And it's not just a cliche to say, okay, it is a cliche, but it's also true that rookie quarterbacks love their tight ends because they are safety nets. Hunter Henry, I think, has a big year with Justin Herbert. I think they link arms together in terms of production fantasy-wise. And then number 5, I got to go with it. I have to. He's out of retirement. He's back. The holder of the 24/7 WWE Championship belt, Rob Gronkowski. I know it's probably silly to think, but maybe a year off did something good for him. And there was did you see the video today or on Tuesday as we record this, from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Twitter account of Brady lobbing one over the shoulder to Gronk? It was beautiful. It looked like he had separation. He's got his speed back. Boy, I like Gronk. If Brady's going to be looking for him in the red zone. That's what Brady was missing last year was Gronk. I'm all over Rob Gronkowski being back in the top tight end picture again. I'm pumped about Gronk. All right, Steve, let's cover defense and kickers real quick. I'm not going to name any. You name just a handful of guys that kind of stand out, or teams maybe that stand out for you. When you're drafting, you're like, ooh, I want that.
All right, definitely I'm looking at San Fran's defense.
Yeah.
They were killer last year. Oh, my God, complete lockdown. Love them this year. I love Baltimore's defense, New England's, of course, and I'm always a big fan of the Saints' defense. As for kickers, I'm always going for a guy that's in a dome. That's my thing lately. And if I could pick a certain guy, it'd be Will Lutz. I think Will Lutz is the most badass kicker there is. I'm sorry, Justin Tucker's always accurate, but Will Lutz puts up numbers. They use him a lot, and he's always kicking in a dome. I mean, most of the time. So that's my guy. That's what I'm targeting. How about you?
I would say for defense, you're right. I always go after defenses that are ball hawks. So the Patriots with Stephon Gilmore, in addition to Kyle Duggar. I like the Patriots, although the fact that they lost like Hightower, Chung, a few big pieces from that defense, that worries me a little bit. The Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just don't give up a lot of points, which really doesn't do it for me. I want teams that can score. Like you said, the Ravens. I would say maybe don't sleep on the Los Angeles Rams. Jalen Ramsey is there along with Aaron Donald. I think they could make some noise this year. Could the Los Angeles Rams? Not saying top 5, but I'm just saying kind of keep an eye on those Rams. They're going to be pesky, as well as the Bears. I think people are sleeping on the Bears. Khalil Mack kind of had maybe a little bit of a down year compared to the ridiculous year he had the year before. So if Khalil Mack gets back to that, the Bears are an elite defense yet again.
For sure.
I really don't care much about domes or environment when it comes to kickers. I care about teams that are going to score and score a lot. So Baltimore, Justin Tucker. I mean, Justin Tucker is a top pick kicker wise. Anyways, Harrison Butker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Big fan of them. And Greg Zuerlein, dude's got a huge leg. Greg the Leg is with the Dallas Cowboys now. And like I said, team that has a lot of offensive weapons. I'm big on Greg Zuerlein with the Cowboys this year. So that's it, folks. There we go. Top at each position for 2020 from myself, Connor Ryan, and Steve Scott over there. Our first episode in the books of Your Fantasy, Two Dudes, Fake Balls. We did it.
Hell yeah.
Episode 1 is down. We'll be here to help you with all your fantasy needs, questions, whatever, throughout the year. But episode number 1, the elite of the elite in fantasy football in 2020. We have covered it. And if you didn't remember anything else from this episode, just remember this. Daniel Jones will have a better fantasy season than Josh Allen.
Absolutely not. Josh Allen's the GOAT. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, yes. There you go. That's Steve. I'm Connor. Your Fantasy. Two Dudes, Fake Balls, Couch Guy Sports. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.
Peace.